Okay, here we are, turn 4 orders phase. So the Yorkish commander is going to issue general order number 1, which means the curs, or skurs, on both the north and south flank, these two units over here, these two units over here, are ordered to sweep around and hit the enemy on the north and south flank. How these guys are going to disengage from melee and do it, don't know, but the important thing is getting these horses out of the way so that he can do his second thing that he's doing, which is, because he's attached to the center of these billmen, he's going to basically form them on line and move southwest as far as they can go. This guy already had orders. These guys already had orders, so no change up to what's going to happen up here. So pretty easy to see what his battle plan is, right? He's bringing everything up online. He's pushing it all forward. And the only thing in reserve is going to be his archers. So we'll see how that pans out. The archers are going to fire on targets of opportunity based on the standard rules where they act in the absence of orders, because Sir Croft is over here handling these horses, getting them wrangled to go back the other way. Now, the Lancastrian side, they're already under the order to advance, general order to advance to the east. But in addition, he's going to issue general order number 1, except the army commander is going to attach online to this unit. So this horse, heavy horse, and this heavy horse, he's going to move up. Oh, got the magnet. So we're going to do some real-time dragon. He's going to move his unit up here, attach to the center, and then move the whole kit and caboodle down here into these billmen. Because he can do that as the army commander. He can form this group and then move them all in one turn, is my interpretation of the rules. And since I wrote the rules, well, I strongly edited the rules. So that's what's going to happen there. A lot of this stuff is going to move eastward. There are going to be reaction tests that have to be taken because of these feudal knights that are impetuous as they are sighting units, and these horse that are unengaged. There are going to be reaction tests happening over here with these units. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure. I'm still of a mind that the reaction tests need to be simplified, pared down. So we'll continue to play rules as written until I decide otherwise. But definitely the rule where if something within 15 inches breaks, that one's out. We're not doing that. Okay, so general order number 1, if we turn back here, for the Lancastrians, is the rear guard advances directly east to the Roman road on line, infantry, heavy horse, or I'm sorry, infantry, medium horse. So somehow these guys have got to form on line, their noble will direct them, and then advance to the Roman road, and then this rear guard here is going to sweep around to the Ogilvy road, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I really don't like the rule that says that a unit first comes within 15 inches of an enemy's medium or heavy cavalry forces a reaction test. I think that's more of a distraction. I think all animal stuff should be a distraction. So cavalry and elephantry distracting horses should be a distraction. Chariots and elephants on flat ground that haven't charged yet, that's a distraction. Enemy medium or heavy cavalry that's kind of unengaged within 15 inches, that's a distraction. Those are all distracting factors. And I think a distraction should only count for one factor. It shouldn't be like double distracted, double disordered. None of that crap matters. So I think I'm going to ignore that one. But definitely these heavy horse, they're impetuous. As they come into sight of these units, which they are in sight now, I'm going to force them to take reaction tests. So I rolled the reaction tests. I don't know that you can see them all, but there are no ones. Well, there is a one. Hang on. Because these are regular troops, this is an average dice. This 1 becomes a 3, and this 6 becomes a 4. Okay, so are there any other modifiers? Unit being tested under missile or artillery fire? Not yet. Hit on and flank? Nope. Disordered? Nope. Noble attached to the unit? Nope. Not for those 3 heavy horse. Army commander within 15 inches of the unit, +1. Yes, easily all of these are within 15 inches, so this becomes a 5. This becomes 5. This becomes a 4. Okay, so we got the +1 for the Army commander. Downhill, uphill, doesn't matter. Melee, nope. Flank support, nope. Rear support. So, well, flank support. Another friendly unit touching its side, +1 per flank. But they're just passing by that unit, and that unit's oriented that way. So I'm not going to give them flank support. Supported from the rear, yes. So the front two are supported from the rear. So this one's supported by that one's supported by that one. So this one gets a +1, so this will take this to 3. And this one gets a +1, taking one of these up to 6. But this one does not. All right, so missileers within 10 inches, no. Unengaged enemy cavalry within 15 inches of unengaged enemy cavalry, or 10 inches. So this is kind of a distraction factor. I guess distraction applies to tactical factors, not the reaction test. So maybe we keep this in here. So -1, because the front unit can see these guys, so he's going to be back down to -1. So take this down to a 4. So now we have a reaction test results. And it doesn't tell us that, hey, you simply, we're simply testing to see whether you charge or not, which is how it is in chainmail, right? It's an obedience dice that you have to pass to keep your fuel cavalry from charging out to seek glory. In this case, let's take a look at the reaction test table and get these results handled. I'm not going to do the same for medium horse. I'm only doing it for heavy horse that are within. And these guys could do it, but they're in an absence. I guess these guys need to do it too. Those guys are with the Army commander, so he's going to override it. But in the meantime, I should probably roll. Ugh, all this stuff is just so frustrating. Too many rolls, I think. But these guys were halted, so they lost their orders, technically. So we're going to force the reaction test there. Or did they already do that? That's how they ended up with the halt, right? Yes, they already did a reaction test. I'm not touching those guys again. Sorry, we've already dealt with the front 3. We dealt with the front 3 heavy horse. We're dealing with the rear ones. Never mind. So here we go. These are all considered grade B. So that's going to be that's going to be 6. That's going to be 10. 10, grade B. Persevere. And these guys have active orders, right? They just received an order, a general order. Persevere if already engaged in combat, otherwise continue with the active order. So 10 is good. What about these guys? So this is a 16. 16 or more. So when he gets up to the front and can see stuff, he's going to go into an uncontrolled advance. And then this guy is a 9, 10, 11, 12. He's going to be 12. He's going to be 9 to 12. He's going to persevere. So this one is the only one that's going to break out once he comes into sight. Once he gets up here and can see clearly. Okay, so quite a lot going on. 2 things that I forgot to do was with this melee result and that melee result, I think it was an equal exchange of casualties, and in that case, the horsemen are repulsed 10 inches. And so they're going to turn about and be attacked. Let's go ahead and resolve those attacks. So upper dice, lower dice, those are irregular troops, doesn't matter, it's going to be a -2. This is going to be melee of light foot versus medium horse. Light foot versus medium horse. It's going to be a factor of 1, so instead of -2, we're down to -1. -1, those guys are unshielded, that takes us to 0. Unshielded, not disordered, that's in good order is what they're doing. No nobles, none of that stuff. We're just going to call it 0. And number of figures 5. Figures 5, 0. That's going to be 3 casualties. We're going to roll the dice. 3 out of 20 chance. I rolled a 17, so nothing on that one. He can now go his movement distance, which he took off 2 for the turn, and now he can go 6 more. He'll now get a chance to move his move, which he was ordered originally to skirmish. Then he got the general order to advance. So he's actually going to overtake, it looks like. He gets to go. He can move up to 8, so he's definitely going to re-engage this guy in the rear. And I'm not going to give him a shot this time. He's just overtaking and attacking. Over here, let's see what happened when he turned around. 1 is for that gets changed to a 3 because that's the kerns are irregular. 5 minus 3 is 2. That's going to be positive 2. He's got a weapon factor 1, so that's going to be factors 3. He's hitting an unshielded enemy. Let's call it 4. Yeah, let's call it 4. And he's got the army commander, so let's call it 5, right? It's either 4 or 5. Let's take a look here. It's not going to make that much difference. 5 figures at 5 is 13. Let's give it a roll. I got a 16. Doesn't matter. So he's going to take no casualties as he turns around. Same circumstance, though. And I needed to do this to figure out what's going to go on over here. And I'll talk about these guys here in a minute. So 2 to turn. And then he gets 6 more in his movement. These guys can come off their hill. They were ordered to go east. He's actually overtaken him. Because he's moving, he could potentially throw. So I think I am going to give him a throw. So we'll resolve that here in a second. That means these guys can advance. They're going to recollide, right? Yep, sure looks that way. This guy can finally move up. These guys, I don't want them, strangely enough, I don't want them to move all the way up because I think it'll crowd things too much. And I think they should have taken shots. So I think what I'm going to do is a reaction test for all 3 of those units to try and get them to stop, because I stupidly didn't order them to do the right thing. Now there is a statement. I might have to backtrack here. There is a statement in the rules where I said that a discretionary reaction test is not meant to be there to make up for bad generalship, and I think that's what I'm emulating here. So actually, I'm going to have to retcon that and say, nope, these guys are crossbowmen. They're not allowed to fire if they're moving forward into melee. I'm considering these guys heavy, so I think their movement is going to be 6. So kind of a raggedy battle line of crossbowmen, French crossbowmen forming here. And then that allows these guys to get out of the woods, but they subtract 2 movements. So there'll be 8 movement, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shooting and melee. I'm going to do the shooting before the melee takes place. Melee. These guys all came up online. Melee, melee. Melee. Oh my, quite a lot. So interesting things happened over on this side of the battlefield. This rear guard unit now is online. The nobleman that's with them, I think that's Devereaux, not certain right now, but he said, hey, good enough. 3 of the units were on the road. He wasn't going to wait for the 4th unit. There was a bit of a traffic jam situation, so he just started to wheel them now a little prematurely, but I think we'll allow that in the rules. What happened down here? Again, massive traffic jam. So these horsemen were ordered to kind of get around the flank, and to do that, they had to wheel and start moving to the south of the map. Unfortunately, that meant that this guy got taken in the side. This guy got out of the way of most of the billmen, but not all of them. And then this unit that rallied turned around and started to head back toward the heavy horse. And again, traffic jam situation. These guys are going in this direction. These guys are coming in this direction. Now, the unit that had the uncontrolled advance, it decided to charge the stakes. Don't ask me why, I left it up to chance. But before it did, this unit of heavy horse was receiving fire from this unit. So this unit of archers fired on them, and then they'll get crashed into from the horse doing the uncontrolled advance. So A little bit of a fire job here, then some melee. Then we've got not quite a complete charge. So I'm giving them the movement bonus, but not the impetus bonus is how I think I'm ruling this. When they don't have sufficient distance, though they will get into contact, I'm giving them the charge movement, but not the impetus. Yeah, and so, oh, I still have to resolve this guy's movement to the rear. And he already took his blows, didn't he? I'm thinking, yeah, he did take those blows already, so I need to resolve that move. He's got 6 inches left, and he can move 6 inches, so I think he just turns around and finishes his retirement here. I think that's it for movement for turn 4, and we'll start doing this combat stuff.